This is the Twin Cities Real Estate Investing Show. Real stories, real success in Twin Cities real estate. Join your hosts, Adam Tafel and Tim Swierczek, as they dive into the world of Twin Cities real estate investing. Together, they share valuable insights and practical tips to help both new and seasoned investors navigate the Minneapolis-St. Paul market. With a focus on relatable stories from real people, this show will empower you with the knowledge and confidence to thrive in your investing journey. Guys, take it from here.
What's up, Tim?
Hey, man. How's it going?
Good. We have Kurt Pauley today. Kurt Pauley, round 2.
Yeah. Kurt's first episode was extremely well received. We had a lot of feedback from it. It was the first person we started getting a lot of feedback from.
Yeah.
Right. And actually one of the very early ones that shot to the top in terms of views as well.
Yeah, I think the title was like Mixed Use in South Minneapolis, something like that. So go back and find the first episode if you feel like it. But Kurt was talking about a development project on episode 1, and we thought, well, let's have him back once he's further along with the development project. And so this is all about developing in Minneapolis.
Yeah, and you're going to hear a lot about morphing from, like the project started out as one thing, went to another, and now it's on its third iteration. And they're pretty different, really, especially in terms of scale, like number of units, purpose, all that stuff.
Yeah, he's good at pivoting, and he's just a good, humble, intelligent guy to talk to. So here's the sponsors. Please support them. Welcome to the Twin Cities Real Estate Investing Show, brought to you by Shook. Shook is the all-in-one platform to help you manage your rentals, built for real estate investors just like us. Shook offers lightning-fast ACH payments. I just got a few properties set up with Shook, and I'm getting paid way faster than my old service. They can also do custom things, like if you need to pay a manager a percentage, they can take care of that. The staff at Shook, Oliver, and the team are just so awesome to work with, and we want to thank Shook for sponsoring the podcast. At $5 per unit per month, it's totally worth checking out shookrentals.com to book a live demo. In the show notes, we're also offering a discount of 20%. Use the code TCREI20. Thank you. One of the hardest parts of investing is finding a solid property manager. I've worked with plenty over the years. Some are better than others. Earlier this year, I did a 10-unit deal where John and his team at RPM Viking handled the management for our mutual out-of-state client. They were professional, they were responsive, they delivered exactly as promised. Now they are my #1 management referral, and I'm proud to have them supporting the show. Learn more at rpmviking.com. Use the code TCREI300 for $300 off maintenance services when you sign up with RPM Viking as your property manager. Thanks for sponsoring the show. Investors, if a deal gets messy, call Network Title. They can handle the BRRRR, the 1031, mixed use, commercial, whatever it takes, so you can close on time. Working with Network Title is kind of like having another personal assistant. That's how on the ball these people are. Network Title, complex deals made simple. Link in the show notes. What's up, Kurt Pauley?
Not a lot, man. How you doing?
You're back.
I'm back. Feels
Thank
good.
you.
Yeah.
Not a lot. I find that hard to believe. I think you're a hardworking guy, but you have a lot going on.
You've
Yeah,
been just
day-to-day.
watching Netflix.
Yeah, exactly.
Playing video games.
Catching up on the shows, yeah.
Yeah. Well, this time of the year, it's a little cold, so I wouldn't blame you for being inside a bit.
Well, let's do a little bit of an intro, because not everybody watched the first Kurt Pauley episode, right?
Yeah. It would definitely be worth it to go back and check that out, but you're right.
Yes. If you're curious, go back to episode, whatever it is. Probably first 20.
Somewhere in that ballpark.
I think.
Yeah.
I actually saw it the other day, but I didn't really focus on what number. Yeah. It's earlier on last year.
I still need to listen to that.
So yeah, we talked a lot about Kurt's history on that one, so we're going to kind of take off where that one kind of left off. Kurt had a really cool development project he was working on, and that was his newest thing, so we'll talk a lot about that today. But Kurt, do you want to kind of introduce yourself real quick and just what you do, who you are, that kind of deal?
Yep. Split my time between a couple of things. I'm a commercial broker day to day, helping people buy and sell apartments, mostly retail, some land stuff I've done with gas stations and hotels. So that's part of my life. The other part is continuing to purchase investment properties, maintaining what I've built already, and now trying to jump into development.
Very cool.
And your development is probably a little different than, I mean, you had a unique twist on it. I want to get more into that, but your development isn't like, I think most people hear development and they either think, infill single family homes, right? Or buying out in, the country and developing a little bit larger plots, but you're doing something different than that. It's not that different from infill, but it kind of is. So could you maybe tell people about your project?
For sure. I think I'll go back a little bit. Like 2 years ago, I wanted to learn how to do ground up development, and that took a lot of networking and education on my part. And once I did that, we formed a separate group, a networking group actually of developers, and I met two really awesome guys, very smart, call them building science nerds, and I'm more of the big picture thinker. But I found this piece of land by Lake Nokomis and took it to these guys and said, "Hey, what do you think? Do you think we can turn this into something?" And they said, "Yeah, for sure." And we all partnered 1/3 each on there, and that's how it started. So looking back, we got this property under contract September 2023. So it's been a long time, and that project has evolved multiple times. It was market rate apartments to start. Then we looked at condos. Condos are a whole different ball game because of the 10-year statutory period where you can get sued. And 99.9% of all developers that do that get sued.
Is that a Minnesota thing as well?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a statewide Minnesota thing.
Pretty unique to our state.
For sure.
And you can get sued basically for if your windows leak, right? Or the stuff goes bad, that kind of thing. Those are the lawsuits I hear about.
Yeah. Basically anything. And they will try to come up with something, so like.
You're going to be paying maintenance, lack of maintenance 10 years, 9 years down the road.
Yeah. So there's ways you can protect yourself from that. One is have insurance, which is a $500,000 premium on the policy we were looking at to cover us for that. And also you can work with some attorneys. Like there's a firm in town that is the firm that sues most people, and they can help you protect yourself by taking pictures throughout the whole construction process, really documenting everything to show you did it in the right way.
Yeah, and if you retain them, then through lawyer, what do they call it? Conflict of interest.
Yeah,
they can't be the ones to sue you too. So you take the biggest.
Exactly.
The firm that would be best to go after you. You get them on your side, so to speak.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's strategy there. We pivoted away from this condo, basically due to the fact that our construction costs for that were coming in the 400s a foot, and we'd have to sell them for $700 a foot. And on this site, we don't think that's possible. And with this type of development, when you're building something for sale, there's huge risk in it, as there's no comps for these type of products, right? Like if you're building, there's like my friend's doing one in Linden Hills right now, 15 condos. There's no comps for that. It's the biggest condo project in 10 years in Minneapolis itself, and it's not even that big of a project. So it's kind of crazy to think about.
I'm curious, what are the layouts of those condos, and what does he think he's going to be listing them for? I'm just curious, like layout and size.
Most of them are like 2.2s, like 2,200 square feet, 2,500 to 2,500. They're achieving sales prices over $1,000 a foot on all of them. And
that's Colorado mountain pricing right there. I mean,
this is Linden Hills.
Yeah.
It's like.
But you could build it. What is it? If I want to build in Linden Hills, I'm spending like $2 million maybe for a detached single family home, something very nice.
Yeah.
I'm not great at math, but aren't you saying $2 million right now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And unique part about these type of projects, and what I'll talk about further, our project by Lake Nokomis turned into a townhome project. But with any of these type of projects, the lenders will require half of the units to be pre-sold. So before they will give you any construction money. So,
wow.
So you have this piece of land, you have to be really good at pre-selling them, the marketing, the whole 9 yards, because basically you need 25% down earnest money on half of them before the bank releases any funds, which can be hard to achieve. But it proves the project, right, to the lender and yourself. If you can pre-sell half of them,
with that kind of,
you have a lot more confidence. And that 25% down earnest money to reserve them goes hard pretty quick.
Yeah.
And then you get to use that as equity. So a unique part about these projects as well is that you can almost cut your equity requirement in half by using those reservations.
Going back to the Colorado condo thing, we had money down on a new construction condo in Colorado, and it was 30%. And you're right, it was hard. Basically, there were milestones, right? The first third of your 30% down payment, or 10% of your whole purchase price had to go down. That was refundable. But as soon as they broke ground or got permission to break ground, I forget, one of the two, then another payment was due. Once that 20% was down, it was hard, no longer refundable. Then the 30% was upon exterior completion, right?
Yeah.
So that's how they did it. And again, same thing, that's how they fund the project, or a big portion.
Yeah. Like, in reality, if you pre-sold all of them, you wouldn't have that much of an equity requirement,
Mm-hmm.
So so going back to your project, and is this an address that you feel comfortable sharing? And you certainly don't have to if you don't want to.
Not yet.
Okay, cool.
1 block from Lake Nokomis, so they could probably find it, but
cool.
Yeah. And I'm willing to talk to if anyone wants to reach out and talk to me about it, we can do that.
Cool.
But yeah.
Do you take on partners now? Like, for example, and that can be an issue with talking about things, right, publicly. Are you taking on partners?
For sure.
Okay.
I already have some investors lined up in this deal that are people that have partnered with me in the past and other syndications of existing buildings.
And this is a syndication itself?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can we back up a bit? What are you buying? Or what did you buy?
A lot with the service station on it.
That's right. Okay.
And we potentially the house next door. We've decided to not purchase the house next door to do a smaller project. So we're doing 5 townhomes now instead of a larger project. So they're all 3 stories, rooftop deck.
To give us an idea of what would an extra lot be able to build you, forget about whether it makes financial sense. How many more units could you have built if you buy this other, because they're townhomes? Is it 2, 3? How much further can you go?
Yeah, why didn't you
zero
buy
lot
it?
lines?
We could have doubled it,
So you could have went to 10? Okay.
Yeah. And maybe gave us the option to do something underground for parking. Our current model has at-grade parking coming from behind.
Okay.
And it comes back to the risk, I think. This area is not Linden Hills. It's a much different demographic over there. And we're going to need to sell these, 900 plus roughly. Yeah. And we're already working with an agent that works in this space to help find some interested people. And we think it'll be just much easier to find 5 buyers at that price point than 10.
Yeah.
And that's the difference right there.
There you go. I mean, that perfect reasoning for sure. I'm just kind of curious because you mentioned it. Talk to me about the underground parking. Is it because you need 10 to justify the digging, or could you go elaborate on that some?
Yeah, just when you're at scale, you can justify paying the extra $1 million it's going to cost to go down, basically. So that's part of it. It's just the cost, and the other part is environmental issues. So we did testing on the land there. We got grants to the city of Minneapolis. That was a whole process, and they do soil borings, 6 of them on the lot. They said 35 feet down, you have some contamination. We probably wouldn't even go that far down if we had a parking garage. But the risk is in other spots, there could be contaminated because it's a big lot and they're only doing 6 borings. They could have missed something easily,
Sure. Well, yeah. 12 feet over, there's a problem, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, and you might not know the answer to this, but I'm just talking out loud almost. My thought process goes to if what's in contact with the contamination and the contamination's already there, what's the problem with having parking down there? I can completely see having contamination and having someone living right on top of it. That actually seems much more of a concern to me. Do you know, did that ever come up in any of your
Basically,
work?
There's a huge cost in how you deal with that soil when it comes out of there. If it's contaminated soil.
Oh, just removing it itself, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, not the...
So there's we have to pay this environmental consultant an X amount of money per hour to be on site to test it as it comes out. And then as the soil comes out, they tell you it can go to this spot or this spot, basically, Yeah. And the swing is in multiple hundreds of thousands of how you have to deal with that soil if it's contaminated. So we just want to avoid all that, basically. You know,
I don't blame you.
keep it simple, I think.
So what was we were talking about this deal the first time you were on the show. What were you planning on doing at that point? And what did that
Yeah, it would have
look
been
like?
almost exactly a year ago, I would think. Maybe 11 months ago, something like that.
Yeah,
So we were teetering on 41-unit market rate apartments.
that's right.
Or we also looked at a 15-unit condo building. 41 units. Every way we skin the cat with construction costs, financing, we were going to make like 6 to 8% cash on cash without getting investor money. So the moment we get investor money, it's basically a no-go because our investors need higher return than that, you know.
Let's back up on that, because I think this is paramount to housing, and people don't understand that housing is unaffordable to build. Forget about buying it, right? You can't build it at a profitable number even if you sell it high, right? And so talk to us about some of the things that made that 41 units not realistic. Could you please, where do those costs come from? It's not all building materials, that's part of it, but could you kind of go into details?
The part is right, the construction and building materials. And I think at that time, everyone was afraid of what tariffs and that whole thing was going to happen, how it was going to affect construction cost. And GCs are definitely putting that in or putting a cushion in for themselves.
Sure.
So that's a huge part. The financing cost is high, And I think on this project, the biggest thing was we had to ask ourselves can we lease these for $3.25 a foot, $3.25 a foot. And
can you give us an idea what that works out to because we don't know the square feet per se. What would that look like on a
Per unit.
Yeah, what's a 2-bedroom, if you will?
like $3,000.
Okay.
That's tough.
Yeah.
That's tough.
One block from Lake Nokomis, and yeah, it's super tough.
It's not like Harriet.
And they're tight margins, right? If you can't get them and have to go to 275, you're not making any money.
Yeah.
And that's the risk. And so the townhome project's much different than that, right? You're in and out 18 to 24 months from the time you break ground. That's why investors like it, because they get their money back quick. It's not like a syndication where their money sits there for 5 to 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we can build for probably $225, $250 a foot. That's what we're looking at.
Okay.
So, and we build all electric buildings, very sustainable, net zero energy ready, triple pane windows, very tight building envelope. So the way we build it is not just a code, right? It's to this future standard, and doing that alone is more expensive. So we have to be very clever in how we construct it. We have to be very clever in how we put our capital stack together. So it can't necessarily be all just investor money.
You're getting energy, Energy Star money, so to speak. I'm sure that's not what it's called, but
it's a little different. But that and among other grants,
Yeah.
Within this developer group I'm part of, everyone collaborates and finds different ways and different sources of money. And that's been very helpful to figure out. So, you could do SIPs, modular building wall systems and different things like that to help save cost, right? Save time.
I know we went over this on episode 1 and we don't have to spend much time, but I think a lot of people listening are wondering, you were a guy who just bought duplexes at one point.
Yep.
And now you have all of this knowledge and experience. And do you want to just talk briefly on what brought you here to this point? Can you even consolidate that?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I think there's been all these moments in my life, when I went from single families, duplexes, to buying a 6-unit, to syndicating an 11, 12 units and 23 units, stuff like that. At every one of those phases, there's a lot more education that needs to happen. And for me, that's being a student at all times. If I think I got it all figured out, I know I'm going to be left behind. So I try to be humble and be a student and ask lots of questions. Mm-hmm. And I see it all the time within my meetup group, people I meet for coffee, other stuff, that their ego's in the way a lot of the times. And they don't want to ask what this acronym means because they'll feel dumb inside. And that's me. I mean, oh my gosh, to do this development, I had to ask so many questions over and over. My inner voice is telling me, God, you're dumb. Why don't you know that? And it would stress me out, but it was like a muscle I had to build to continue to ask those questions and be humble and and be willing to learn and grow.
But you know what? People, you're never going to get judged for that. I think that if you have that type of personality where maybe you're more sensitive or more self-conscious, you're thinking that. But I think most people in like leadership roles or whatever ahead of you in whatever ecosystem you're in, they're going to see that as a sign of respect because, in those situations, most people are just going to act like not along.
Yeah. I totally get where you're coming from, Kurt, because I definitely see the imposter syndrome in myself a lot of times. Right?
Yeah,
like I feel that hardcore sometimes. But looking at it objectively, one thing it seems to me is that real estate investors are very willing to share with someone who is earnest, right, and who's not trying to like abuse your time, right? Because you get that too,
for sure.
But on the other side, there's no schooling for it, so no one really expects you to know everything, right? So maybe that's a good thing to think of is like, if you go to business, like Harvard, business school, for example, you're kind of expected to come out with basic knowledge of acronyms and other stuff, right?
Right.
But they don't have that for real estate, so you got to learn as you go. And, I imagine that's where it comes from. I'm just trying to think through it, but we have a great community here in Minnesota. But it's not just Minnesota. I've talked to investors from all over the country, and they're usually really giving to people who are not true takers.
For sure. There's definitely a balance there. Some people are takers for sure.
Yeah.
And
shout out to the takers out there.
Yeah. I mean, it goes back to like the 2 years ago when I wanted to do something like this. I always seemed like an abstract, hard thing to do to build ground up. And when I started networking with people, they were just normal people like me as well. And that gave me a lot of confidence. I probably met with 30 different individuals that were developing in some way, shape, or form, something less than 100 units, whether it was a duplex or something bigger, and created a network, right, of people. And I have people to lean on, ask questions to. It's not just myself and my two partners in a silo. It's like when we hit a roadblock, we'll go talk to our colleagues that are also doing it. Say, how did you do this? How did you set up your operating agreement? How did you protect yourself? Just everything.
That's really cool.
Let me ask you this. A question for myself would be, I feel like I have a good thing going on right now as far as like my business and my investing strategy. And what I'm doing is just very run of the mill, buying properties that need work, fixing them up, renting them out.
Yep.
Why should someone like me consider learning more about development and getting into that world? Or even should I?
Well, there's a few things, I guess,
What are the main upsides compared to the typical value add and buy and hold investing?
I think one thing is I want to just be a part of the group adding more housing to the Twin Cities. There's a huge need for it. I kind of second guess myself at that time to time to say I should be doing something affordable or doing something more accessible to people. But at any rate, if you're adding more units, you're helping the cause, right?
For sure.
I, have apartment buildings. I kind of get sick of the Class C headaches, maintenance, all these types of things. That's where I said, okay, I want to get into this certain type of asset. I wanted to get into an asset that, maybe in the future, like for example, a Class A apartment building, I could sell it to a different investor than a Class C building, right? More institutional level. Like I had this moment where, I know this individual who buys Class A, brand new from developer, and he gets institutional investors in those deals. Those investors only require like 4 to 6% cash on cash return. It blew me away, and very depressed cap rates on the purchase as well, or the sale. So that got my eyes open. Like I want to get into this realm of institutional investors. Selling something for a depressed cap rate that I can make money on as well.
Tell people depressed cap rate. Just first, because I think this is one where someone will listening and going, I don't know what that means. So
Yeah. Well, cap rate's a value of a measure within commercial real estate that is based off income. So the lower the cap rate, the less income the property's making, or the less cash flow as well. So,
people who are cash flow investors would want a higher cap rate.
Exactly.
People who want stability and ease and predictability typically gravitate towards lower cap rates, not because of the cap rate, but because of the type of asset they're getting. Like
For sure.
they're getting an A-class building in an A-class area, and they're got a cap rate of, let's say, 4%.
Exactly.
Which you have to have extreme money, institutional kind of money, or crazy, wealthy family office kind of money to be able to accept those kind of rates for most people. Right?
For sure. It's like, you could have the exact same Walgreens, one in, Class A area, one in the Class C area, and the cap rate's going to be wildly different, right?
Yep. And so when you say depressed, you're really just talking
Lower.
low cap rate. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what but I just want to make sure everyone kind of knew. And
For sure.
There's plenty of people who don't even own their first duplex yet, so we want to make sure they're following along.
Yeah. I think another part of the new development is just, I like a challenge, I want to keep learning and grow, and it was frustrating in my mind to say, I don't know how to do this. Mm-hmm. Like, why does it seem so abstract and hard to me? Like, and now it doesn't, right? After I've done all this education, now it seems much more simple.
Well, I think part of it, this is my bias coming out here, but I think part of the reason why it seems abstract and hard is because the government gets in the way so much.
For sure.
I mean, that, right? Most of your problems, are they kind of like, do they stem from government, either regulation or not even just regulation, but red tape and slowing the process down, right? The hurdles they put up that just take time, even if they are important. Like, because let's say they have safety issues, for example, like some sort of safety regulation, doesn't matter what it is, might be important, but the way you solve it takes months instead of days.
For
right?
sure.
Yeah.
I mean, it couldn't be anything. Like, we're going back and forth with the city right now over curb cuts, and it seems ridiculous, and they're unwilling to adjust where they want curb cuts, and it doesn't make any sense to us.
Did you do a traffic study?
No.
Okay.
No. We don't have to.
Okay. Because there's already a lot there that had a traffic.
Yeah. And it's not on a busy street or anything. And so just small stuff like that. And then another part is, like, every municipality is different, right? Mm-hmm. Like, has different rules. And that's kind of the hard part. If you're looking to say, oh, I want to go develop something in New Hope, like, their goals in that municipality are going to be much different than the next one. And different process and the whole 9 yards, right? So,
Well, for me, it just feels like it's like the adults are building the stuff, Like, you guys still feel like a kid, but I do sometimes, and like, or it's the corporations, or it just seems developing, doing what you're doing to a lot of people, myself included. Although it feels less and less like this myself because I know more and more people who do it. Yeah, it just feels like something that like we don't get to do.
Yeah.
Well, there is high risk, right? Can you talk about, like, I really want to go back to some of the building stuff, but briefly, can you talk about, like, what kind of dollar figures you have to put up? Like, just in aggregate, we're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars before you break ground, correct?
Yeah. I would say I'm blessed that one of my partners is an architect, and I probably would have had to pay him $250 by now.
$250,000?
Yeah.
Okay, just want to make sure we're clear.
Yeah. $250,000.
Yeah.
And he probably wishes he got paid some by now, but he gets equity and a deferred fee. So I'm really lucky there. I can tell myself sometimes I need to have an attorney as a partner as well, so I can give them equity instead of pay them up front. But yeah, it's multiple hundreds of thousands up front,
Before you even know if it's going to be
before it's even feasible, right?
Yeah. We'll think about, the city of whatever, how much money has the state spent on light rails that won't get built? Not to bring up a sore subject.
Yeah. I mean, it's huge. That's why, like, if you educate yourself to a point where you can understand what can be put on a certain lot based on that city's code and their future plans for that spot, you can get a lot of it figured out, like, and then be able to do your spreadsheet and see if something pencils, Yeah. So I see it the other way where people say, oh, this is a great lot. They don't understand the code, or they don't understand what the city wants to do in the future. Like I was just talking to someone, they were looking at the current zoning for a piece of land, but that city has a future plan, a 2040 plan similar to Minneapolis. This wasn't Minneapolis, but some have a 2030 plan, some have other types of plans like that. So I'm like, dude, go look at their 2040 plan. They don't even want that there anymore. They have a different future zoning that they want there. So I don't think you have a project, you know, and they had done work, but it's just simple stuff like that.
Simple to you, but not simple to someone who's getting in.
Yeah.
And,
for sure.
Interesting. I got a lot of thoughts here, but actually, going back to that, before we get off the costing, can you give some like what is boring, for example? Like I think it's kind of not what is it, but how much did it cost you? Can you mind sharing that? Like you did boring on one lot, right?
Yeah.
And do you remember the bill for that?
So that was part of a phase 2 environmental study. It was $78,000
for the whole boring project, or the whole study, or just
for the whole
boring?
study.
Okay. Yeah. And that's paid up front. And if you don't ever build, who refunds that money to you?
No one.
Okay. I knew that.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I just want to put it out there because I was actually on a call the other day and people started asking about all this stuff. And I'm like, yeah, no, that is why you deserve to make big money if you get this project done, right? I mean, people don't really understand that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm blessed to
And
be a
these
risk
people-
taker.
I want to hear about the people who made the 78 grand. Is it it's a company that comes out?
Yeah.
And does it? A big company?
Yeah,
Yeah.
decently big. We worked through the city of Minneapolis to get a grant to help us with this. So they said, you got to work with this company. So we didn't have a choice to which one to work with.
Got it.
And they're a big company. And they were great to work with, honestly.
But they're taking soil samples. They're going down, like you're ice fishing. You know?
Yep, they're digging. They're just boring these holes. They're not even that wide. And yeah.
And so people understand they called a phase 1 and a phase 2 environmental study. And typically, if I'm not mistaken, a phase 1 is essentially kind of like a research project, right?
Yep.
I mean, they don't actually do testing per se. They just go, what was on this lot and what's the risk level, right? Like
Exactly.
the risk level, for example, for a dry cleaner is extreme. Like the chances of soil contamination are, close to 100%. They approach 100%, right?
Yeah, big time.
And then gas station is probably
Up there.
right there with them. Like,
sure.
I mean, those are the two biggest. I actually don't even know after that because those are always the examples given.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's plenty of other industries that, maybe some heavy duty manufacturing or auto repair.
More auto
real big.
repair,
Yeah.
chemical manufacturers. Yeah.
Yeah, all that stuff.
Yeah, we decided we just skipped to phase 1, went straight to the phase 2.
Okay. Because you're buying a gas station, so of course.
Yeah, we're like, we're
phase
not going to
one's gonna
spend the
fail.
money
Why
on
would we
that.
spend money on it?
Yeah. So we skipped right to that.
But a phase 1 can allow you to skip phase 2 because they might look at it and say, well, there's only been a single family house on this and it didn't even have a well, or I'm sorry, it didn't even have like an underground storage tank. So the risk level is so low that we're not going to make you do all the testing.
Yeah.
Right? And that happens a lot.
Right. And another part of that process, so we do the phase 2, and then that goes, Terracon was a company. They create this report, and that goes to the MPCA, the Minnesota Pollution Control Agency, and they create something called a RAP, a Response Action Plan. And it's that plan that says what we have to do to mitigate the issues. And there's also expiration dates on these things, like the studies in that plan as well. So if you don't do your deal in a certain amount of time, you're going to have to do it again.
Which is kind of obscene if the property use hasn't changed. There's really no reason that it should ever expire, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
That's another one of these, like,
maybe you could say a decade, but like really there's, okay, nothing's happened on this lot for the last 3 years.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That's good to know. How long did it take from start to finish
Which
for just the phase 2 environmental from the day you let's say
like 4 months, I think.
4 months.
Wow.
And that's just from hiring on. You also probably took some time to get to that, right? Finding out who you have to use, all that kind of jazz, right?
Forms and applications.
Yeah. So if you include all that, how long did it take?
6 months, I think.
I'm just trying to build a little picture here so people understand. And then out of curiosity, do you know your holding cost per month just on the lot and the project and just is there
$3,000.
Yeah. So, it's just kind of, so, you're 12 grand plus just in holding costs to pay 78. So it's really 90.
Big time.
these things pile on. I'm just trying to build a picture that like our system is broken, right? Like that $90,000 never comes back in the end. You have to charge that to someone, whether it's a tenant or a future buyer, to be able to make the project viable. You know?
Oh, for sure. That's why it all, yeah.
And if we're building 5 units and let's say that's 90 grand, it's, you know, almost $20,000 per unit cost for an environmental study.
For sure.
Right. I mean, and that's why affordable housing or anything else is tough, and why you have to sell at 900,000 to make the project work. Right.
Big time. Yeah.
And I mean, I know a lot of people on the show are sympathetic to it, but I think it's important to kind of understand these finances, and because this is where we have to start really having conversations around how could this be done more efficiently, right?
Yeah.
Whether it might be anyway. So.
Yeah, and Tim. Well, and here's the thing, Tim.
time.
You benefit immensely from the lack of housing.
Oh,
You know
absolutely.
what I mean? Like you don't have anything to gain. If all of a sudden people made it so much easier to build and develop, we would just be less wealthy because
Correct.
rents would go down, values would go down.
Without a doubt,
Yeah.
I am in the system and benefit from the system.
Yeah.
You know, staying pricey, if you will, right? I just think that I mean, for many reasons, I think that's the wrong approach. I'm sympathetic to everyone else, and I think I'll still be able to do fine. But absolutely,
For sure.
yeah. I mean, the higher it costs, the more people that buy $900,000 houses, my places look cheap.
Yeah.
And right?
Exactly.
They look like a better deal.
Yeah.
And my house would go up in value even, right? So yeah,
sure.
absolutely.
So can you just go through the steps real quick, Kurt? From you buy the lot, somewhere in there is the architect and the planning and like approval and then you move on to the phase 2. It sounds like.
Yep.
Well, break it down for us. I probably got some of that wrong.
Yeah.
But
Oh, yeah.
Did you
I'll
kill?
have to do a clarification here because
Yeah.
we didn't even buy the lot yet.
Oh, sure. You just have it under an option agreement.
Okay.
Yeah, under a purchase agreement.
Yeah.
But
Okay, that makes
so
sense.
we've had it tied up for a long time and had to pay earnest money and some other
Extension fees.
extension fees. Yeah, exactly. And so that was the goal. Tie it up as long as we can and try to get as close as to construction time. Our project went up and down, all these different things, but yeah. So it was first having site control, whether that's purchase agreement option or closing on it.
Meaning
And
you
you're
can do
actually-
whatever you want at this point.
Yeah, sorry.
or not whatever you want, but yeah.
So so you did purchase agreement, not option agreement, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
The purchase agreement lays out all those contingencies, 180 days to do the testing and other things. And so we got started right away on that. Luckily this seller really was great and is great to work with, allowing us that long timeline, which is rare. Often you'd have to close on it much quicker.
Yeah.
So we got started right away on the environmental stuff. Our first step was to figure out what grants from the city we could go for. There's like an emerging developer grant. There's a grant that has to do with being close to light rail. And there's another one that has to do with being in an area that has had civil unrest, which would in turn impact your access to capital. So there's a lot of different things to look at. And those are just Minneapolis. And there's grants from like foundations and other things you got to look at. So that was a huge part of it, is building that plan, right?
And so out of curiosity, and obviously this is, in your opinion, could this deal even be done without grants?
No.
Right. It just would not pencil, correct?
Yeah.
So which one of those did you take advantage of?
We're working on a couple more right now, but we got some from the MPCA in the city of Minneapolis, environmental grants. So
Got it.
they basically just have a whole program just for brownfield sites. So brownfield is a term for a contaminated site. So we got a brownfield grant to cover that.
And that's going to help, with some of those.
I think it's important to let that sink in the sense that like you can't even build a $900,000 townhome without grant money. That's how broken the system is, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to dwell on it, but I also want to just really point out that like we have problems. We can fix them, but we have to like actually agree to fix them and
Big time.
and start
and
a conversation around it. That's not about landlord bad.
Yeah, no.
This has nothing to do with landlord.
Our land costs are high, Yeah, exactly. I'd love to. Whenever people say that's too expensive, just come sit and look at the spreadsheet with me sometime, and we can go through every line item, and you can tell me how I can make it cheaper. And it's very hard.
And you've tried to save money, I bet, right? Did you try to spend
God.
extra on anything? Did you offer someone 25% more than they wanted?
No.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, we have to really analyze every line item to and have efficiencies and everything to make it work.
Yeah.
Yeah. But people want to know how you did this. So you secure the site with a purchase agreement. You start researching grants. Then what do you do?
Basically, start fine tuning our architectural plans and what could actually go there.
Okay.
Because that part's crucial to talk to lenders and investors and everyone else. So that's a huge part. Shout out to Adam, my partner, who's an architect and amazing. And so that was a huge step doing that. Then talking to lenders, because we need to talk to lenders to see what their LTV is going to be. If they're going to give us interest only for a certain amount of time, what rate they're going to be at, how many pre-solds do they want, all these types of things. At the beginning, it was an apartment we were looking at. So every time we pivoted to a different type of project, we kind of had to start that over. And throughout time, these lenders change their requirements as well, based on risk profile, based on their internal portfolio they lend against, and what's going on in the world.
In civil unrest and all the other things, right? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, and then tariffs come, and
and someone says we need rent control, and they get elected, and right, all that stuff, right? Yeah.
Big time. So it's always changing a little bit. We're always fine-tuning. So that's a big part, getting just something that can pencil, so you can have your drawings, a rendering, a spreadsheet, some numbers you can give to a lender, and they're like, okay, that makes sense to us, or it doesn't, or they're like, we don't want anything to do with that, or that's not up our alley. And that's been the case as well. So we probably interviewed like 10 different lenders, 2 good options now,
Mm-hmm.
So are you still somewhat in this phase of due diligence? I would call it a different phrase, but whatever, planning.
Yeah, right now we're working on picking the GC.
Okay.
Working on deciding our legal team. We need a legal team to create our entity docs, operating agreement, all that, but also syndication documents, SEC documents, PPM, private placement memorandum, and also we'll have to have an attorney create an HOA. So it's hard to find one office that can do all 3, or all those things. So it's likely multiple. And
what are your legal fees approximately for something like this?
Syndication documents probably like $15,000. HOA documents higher than that.
I'll give you a referral on that, on the syndication documents. I think we pay about 8 to 9 on average.
Nice.
This could be a little more tricky, so I'm not guaranteeing you that number, and inflation and stuff. I haven't done them in a couple of years, but
yeah, this same guy that did it for $7,500 on my syndications on like value add class C is telling me 15 now. So
got it. Well, I'll get you.
Yeah, I would love that.
She's done 6 different deals with us, 1 JV, 5 syndications. So
nice. Yeah, I need another option there.
Yeah.
I needed an operating agreement for my private lender, and I did a labor trade with my attorney friend. I found him a tenant.
Nice.
And he made the docs.
I like that.
And it was easy to rent. But
nice.
I'm doing piddly little stuff over here.
I would imagine HOA is kind of a more specific part of I imagine that like people have to somewhat specialize in it because of how complicated it is, state law, local laws, all that stuff. You're not just like, it's not a general practice doing that, right?
No. It's like that same attorney I mentioned who sues all the developers.
Yeah.
Using a firm like that's they're good at it, and yeah, it's complicated, and there's a lot of worries right now in that whole space of the insurance cost for an HOA.
Do you also have to pick the end manager, or as the developer, do you not have to worry about that?
We don't have to worry about that. That'll be a part of the HOA.
When it hands over?
Yeah. We likely see this being like self-managed by the people that live there,
Okay.
So.
All right, should we pull up this rendering that you sent us?
Yeah, check it out.
She looks beautiful, man. How many units are we? 8?
That's 5 units.
Okay.
So
Oh, could they go all the way up? Obviously,
3
they're
floors,
townhome.
and that top
Yeah.
is a rooftop deck. There's also a little bit of living space to the left of that rooftop. So they each have this little room up there. So they'll be able to see Lake Nokomis, and yeah, we have a unique plan actually for that main floor. So that main floor can be living space, and this earning will get updated a bit, but there's 3 options for that main floor. It can be a living space, or it could be a commercial unit, or it could be an ADU 1-bedroom. So it's kind of...
If it's 1 bedroom, doesn't it have to be ADU? Sorry.
Yeah.
I was thinking it has to be a condo because you're stacking, but not if it's an ADU.
It's an ADU.
Yeah, okay.
So the city really likes that plan, likes the options
I like that
of
plan.
that.
Yeah, that sounds
Wait,
like
I was
great.
taking a note and I was distracted. I'm sorry. There would be an ADU within each unit.
There could be. So there's 3 options that a buyer could have. They could have an ADU 1-bedroom apartment on that main floor. Then there'd only be 1 parking space on the main floor, but
Yeah.
or it could be a commercial ADU. So someone could put their, gift shop or State Farm office in there.
Sure.
Or it can be living space.
And would it have its own entrance?
Yeah.
And are these going to be separate enough that each buyer could make their own decision on that? Or is it going to be, it's either commercial or residential, that kind of thing?
Each buyer can make their own decision. And from our research we've done with trying to pre-sell these, we have 2 really interested people, and they're like, we want all living space. We don't want any rental space. They're like, it's like we have this like amazing idea right in our head.
Nobody thinks like the 3 of us.
Yeah,
We're
I'm-
such a slim
I'm thinking
portion.
we need to call Kimberly Naibu, the State Farm agent that advertises everywhere.
Yeah. It's
You
like,
can throw her on the main floor. She can live above.
then that's like, once we did that research, it's like, okay, I think the people that are going to pay what needs to be paid to have these, they don't really care about a rental unit,
yeah.
They don't care at all.
And what are people going to need to pay for one of these units? Approximately.
900.
Okay. I don't know, man. I think, well, you've already done the research. I think that there's all sorts of people that want a nice place, but they're in that like 500 to 600 range. And then the ADU puts you, now I can afford $1 million place. Because if it's nice enough,
For sure.
that's a
That was
no-brainer.
exactly our thought.
That's a
It was like-
no-brainer, dude.
Yeah. So we'll see how it shakes out in the next couple months here.
Right. Younger professional couple kind of.
So obviously you talked about the efficiency, triple pane windows, tight building envelope. What are some of the other features of this development?
So we all care a ton about design and want it to be very functional spaces, and that goes into like the quality used and everything as well. Quality of the cabinets, quality of the appliances, quality of the countertops. We know to achieve that type of buyer, we have to do things a different way, and that's come from our research, right? So we have to get a certain level of appliances, right? We can't go with the cheapest, and all those decisions is to the hardware, to the fixtures, to everything, is pushing our price up as well.
Yeah.
Right.
You said all electric, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Except one thing that's kind of up in the air right now is gas fireplace.
Okay. Yeah.
Like through our research and talking to people, that seems like a big one people want. Like,
People hate electric fireplaces, dude.
yeah,
They're
Nobody
awful.
wants that
They're
shit.
awful.
yeah, yeah,
So is there going to be solar?
yeah.
Okay, that's why it is efficient.
Yeah.
Because electric heat is notoriously very expensive if
Yeah.
you're paying for it.
Oh, for sure.
But if you have a water, I don't know. Did you look at anything that's like coolant or water based that would have an electric pump and an electric heating system, something like that? That would be
That's
more
exactly
efficient?
what we're looking at.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah, spot on.
Yeah. And induction stoves.
Yep.
Yeah, I love those.
And it's like these heat pumps, I remember like a few years ago, they couldn't go to like past like 0 degrees, right? They wouldn't work. But now they're kind of like, this technology is getting better every year. Well, now they have something that can go to -20. So it used to be like you needed this heat pump plus some supplemental heat, but now you don't need that anymore. So that's not really my realm of things. That's my partners. I call them the building science nerds. Like, but yeah, if you do it the right way, you can have a very, comfort's a focus, right? Like
Yeah.
comfort. So we look at other stuff like radiant floor heating, and stuff
yep.
of that nature. That uses water within PEX tubing,
Yeah.
which I love. I don't know if we'll do it or not yet. So
Got it.
those are all the final decisions we're making.
And we're not allowed to get on any more tangents because we're coming up at the top of the hour here. But yeah, like,
Okay.
what are you working on this week, and how do you see this playing out as far as like timeline goes? Probably someone listening to this, might be a buyer.
Yeah. We're gonna break ground in September.
Okay.
So that'll be coming here quick. So basically, working right now to pre-sell these. So that's a big focus.
Okay. If I can you do the ADU for someone who's willing to pre-purchase?
Yeah.
Okay.
For sure.
Shit, I might have somebody for
And
that.
just at 900,000, we have a loan program that you can only have to put 5% down with no mortgage insurance. So
Nice.
you don't have to put 90 to 180 down to buy a place like this. You could do it with 45,000.
Yeah.
And
Nice.
the ADU, what would the square footage, and it's a 1-bedroom, 1-bath, the footprint of the townhome? So what?
Yeah.
1,000 square feet even?
I
or
think
not
just
quite?
under
Okay.
1,000 square feet, because there's also parking space on the main floor.
And it'll be nice.
Yeah.
So market rent for something like that, geez, close to $2,000 a month.
For sure.
I would think. Throw it on as short term if the HOA allows it.
Yeah.
$4,000 a month with some vacancy.
Yeah. It'd be a great spot for that.
Okay. I'll get to work, brother.
So
See what we can do.
thank you. I appreciate that. Other than that, what am I doing this week?
There's a website for this we can
Yeah.
link to so people can go to it and see the project.
For sure.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah,
cool.
that's a
And then,
good shout.
Kurt, let's plug your meetup, right?
Yes.
Tell us
Plug
about
away.
it.
Talk
Tell
to
us
talk
about
to camera 2, Kurt.
Okay. So fourth Thursday of every month, Steel Toe Brewing, 5:30 p.m. Real estate investing social is what I'm calling it now. Yeah, come. It's open networking. No speaker. You don't have to wait for a speaker to get done before you can talk to people. People love it. We've been doing it since 2018. I say we built a good tribe. Good portion of the people that are there have been coming since 2018. Then the other probably half are newer, have been 3 or 4 times. Could be newbies. It could be some really experienced people. I met one of my biggest mentors at my meetup group. I put his name in a notebook. I'm like, I got to meet this guy. And he showed up at my next meetup group. The universe brought him to me. So amazing thing can happen there.
And where do people find the meetup? I'm just taking notes, so I'm going to put in the show notes.
Meetup.com. That's
And
right.
what's it called?
REI Social.
As long as you're on meetup.com, you might as well join Twin Cities Real Estate Investing as well.
For sure.
Cool.
we'll talk about this more, but we did talk about possibly doing a joint meetup, so we'll see if we can make that work.
I would love that.
I think it'd be awesome.
Yeah.
We want to do here's the thing, guys. We want to do a live show. We're going to call it Invest Fest. Live podcast. We're going to combine, all the best meetups in the Twin Cities. And right now it's just an idea, but if you like the idea and you want to support it or contribute in some way, or maybe you have your own meetup or your own real estate show, I don't know, whatever, hit us up if you're interested.
We'll talk about
Love
it more
that.
in the outro.
Yeah, true dat.
Cool.
Kurt, thanks so much, man.
You're
You're the
welcome.
man.
Thank you for having me, guys. I love it.
You're the man, Kurt. Later.
Bye.
Later.
Yeah, Kurt's a lot of fun, and I think that there's going to be some nice synergy because we mentioned this on the pod, but I want to kind of go into a little more detail. We're exploring the idea of creating kind of a big Invest Fest. Adam came up with the idea of the name and
Not the idea, just the name.
The idea for the event, I guess I got to give credit to Shuck Rentals. It was dinner I had with them, and we talked about it, and they kind of thought of an idea, and then I kind of added on to it. And in the fullest form, I'd like it to be a live podcast where we have panels. But I think what makes this the most interesting and the most fun, if we can do it, is I want to get several different real estate communities together in one. So think of I'm thinking really like the main meetups, right? So we would do Kurt's meetup, our meetup, the Rebel meetup, maybe Fuse's meetup, right? I mean, we haven't talked to these people yet, so for what it's worth,
Yeah,
but
none of these people are affiliated with what we're saying.
Yes,
right
yes.
now.
Yeah, and probably more. I mean, I know the people over at Fulton real well and a few others, right? So these are all groups that we know well and we have connections to. And the idea would be to get, hopefully 500 or more investors together in the same room. socializing, having some fun, have some kind of cool panel discussions. It's a fairly big scope, and it's decentralized to the extent that like I don't know how much money we have to like put into room guarantees and stuff like that. So there's a lot of little things going on there, but I'm going to be working that most likely through a brewery. And so if anyone's listening to this is also kind of a subtle pitch to if you would like to help or you have any ideas or you have any connections to a venue or so forth, it would be helpful to get those and get them quickly. You can reach out to me.
Where do they always meet at South Park? It's like the Airport Hilton.
Yeah.
South Park episodes. We get the Airport Hilton.
Yeah.
No, I think this could be a real, like a thing, not just at a brewery. I think it's got more legs than that. I think at like a convention center kind of thing. Yeah. Or I've never been to a convention center, so I don't know I don't know how big that is, but there's no reason why you couldn't sell tickets and have, 200 people attend something like this, don't you think?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, the idea, I think, is definitely was enthused by our last meetup, but also just there's an energy that's growing in the Twin Cities when it comes to real estate investing.
Yeah,
and I want to try to bring people together. Right, that's my thought, and expand everyone's networks all at once. Because the few events I've been to recently where there have been a lot of people, it's been sit down in your round tables, and I want way more mingling than that, right? So I was at a cool one, Pace Morby was in town, and by the way, that was an excellent event.
What does he do, Pace?
He's the sub 2 guy. He's the one who's got the peace symbol is his symbol. He adopted that.
Cool.
And that was a great event. Jerry Norton was there. I don't know if you know who Jerry Norton is. He's one of the most prolific wholesaler or flipper/wholesalers in the country. And what's his name? Anil, maybe? He's got a flipping podcast as well. So there's some big hitters, right, as far as speakers go. And that was cool. And I saw a lot of people. I saw a ton of people that I knew, but it was just the whole layout of the room was such that it was what that event needed, but not what I'm thinking. I'm thinking something much more fluid, where maybe we have some stand-up tables that people can set stuff down, but there's a lot of mingling. Mm-hmm. And frankly, the real reason I thought brewery was because there's enough profit in them that we don't necessarily have to pay a big room rental fee, or maybe no room rental fee is my thought. We do it on this would not be a weekend night, right? This would be like a Tuesday through Thursday when they have less traffic, or even a Monday through Thursday, where we can bring people in that way. Maybe for the first one, and maybe if it goes real well, we do more that are, structured differently, but.
So think big meetup with, a live kind of show element to it.
Yeah. Just think that could be really fun and really a good way to, not our community is awesome as it is. And I mean, like I'm talking about the other meetups, right? Everyone is so helpful across the board.
Yeah.
But why not try to connect everyone together even more than they are already?
Yeah, it's a great idea. Well, yeah, you can, we have a new website. Have we talked about that on this episode yet? Twin Cities realestateinvesting.com. It looks good now. And you could use one of those forms if you have an idea or whatever, if you want to be involved. Maybe you have something to offer. Maybe you own a brewery.
Yeah.
Let us know. Were you working on anything cool this week, Tim?
I am on the hunt for a property. Most likely I want to do something similar to what you've been doing, looking for like a burr type situation. Mm-hmm. It has to be something like that so that I could, with a big enough ARV where I can use hard money with, lowish down payment. Cause I've come into some money, but it's not like 6-figure money where I can just do whatever I want. I've got to kind of pick and choose. So something where like, let's say, where there's a nice ARV spread, like somewhere around 75%, after remodel, and let's say a purchase price not above $300,000, something like that. Mm-hmm. And I guess if I was going to be picky about it, I don't know if I really care if it meets that criteria. I don't know that I care if it's a single family or duplex, but I've always been partial to duplexes, but I like what you're doing too. So.
Yeah, well, after talking to Jacob, which might come out in the future, So whatever. He opened my, like, I think, and like I said, driving around the suburbs, showing regular houses. I kind of want a piece of the burbs, Tim. That's going to be a new...
I don't know. I think you're building something really cool. I'd stay in St. Paul.
Yeah.
I mean, from my own experience, I'm not saying right now, and I'm an opportunist currently, which I don't think is actually the ideal way to be, but it's,
where you just jump on whatever you think the best deal is.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I'm doing that frankly, because I made some mistakes and I'm trying to kind of make up for it. Right. But in the end, the way I see that is, I think the way that works, by the way, is I don't keep them as long and I transfer that money out 1031 or other into properties more consolidated in areas I want or different properties, right? Because I'm not very picky on the exact property now. It's more about the numbers, right? But my life was more enjoyable when I was just like, yeah, I want Northeast Minneapolis duplexes, and they have these characteristics. Well,
right.
And you're doing that, not duplexes, but you're doing that exact thing. You've walled off an area and you've walled off a property type. You cut, there's so many things I like about that. It just doesn't work for me today. Right.
Sure.
I can't be that picky. Before I could. Right. And so right now I can't be picky. So it is what it is. And, the beauty of real estate investing is you don't have to, so many people think they have to have a forever plan or every deal has to be this one they keep forever or anything else. No, you can pick and choose and you can change. And I think if you're not at least altering your plan every few years, you're probably not optimizing,
Mm-hmm.
And that doesn't necessarily mean like wholesale changes like I'm talking now. That could just be like right now you're buying, cheap single families in St. Paul. You might eventually say that market isn't working. I need something that's X amount of bedrooms in these neighborhoods because that works better, right?
Yeah. Yeah, you got to adapt. I'm big on diversification too. I don't like to have all my eggs in one basket. That's on my whole, my portfolio is not all real estate, and I'm interested in other, whatever. But what I'm really interested in is this.
Let's see this property.
This sucker.
Oh my!
So this is Mendota Heights.
Okay, so you're going to the suburbs.
I'm going to the burbs, baby. Well, I was thinking about maybe living here, dude, because it's. Oh,
this is the one. Yeah, you told me about.
It's this right off of the highway. Okay. So the other house that we looked at together, or we've talked about how there's this other house in my neighborhood that I'm kind of keen on.
Yeah,
that would be maybe like a 2 to 4 year play where I would. Buy it 700, put a few hundred into it. Hopefully now it's worth 1.1 and then sell tax free after a couple of years. That one, I don't know. It's been kind of crickets from those people. Mm-hmm. So Mendota Heights, awesome part of town, cheaper taxes, lots of families. I'm really about like, kids are not going to knock on my door on Edgecombe and want to play with my kids. Yeah, it doesn't happen on this street.
Yeah.
I need to be more tucked into a neighborhood with other families if I want to be. And I even think about the place up on Upper St. Denis, and I'm like, it is a little bit of a selfish move for me, Okay. I think if I'm really thinking about the kids, find a place where there's like bikes in the yard everywhere, right?
Sure, yeah,
and even in these neighborhoods, they're kind of kitschy, like a lot of baby boomers. Mm-hmm. So anyways, I do believe that this neighborhood would get me...
Can you describe for people, like, I know you said Mendota Heights, but, I can see the Lilydale sign there, and I see the river. Can you...
Yeah, okay, so if you are going south on 35, and you pass Shepherd Road, you go over the Mississippi River... Immediately to your left, that's Mendota Heights. It's very, very small. If you're in Cherokee Park on the west side and you start going down, Highway 13, I don't know what street that is, but like you're driving from the west side, I guess it's just Highway 13. Annapolis, if you take Annapolis from the west side all the way west, eventually you get to that stop sign, you take a left, that's Highway 13. All those houses are Mendota Heights. And so Mendota Heights is really technically probably like Delaware, right? Actually, we have the internet here. Why don't we just
So it borders West St. Paul.
Right.
It also borders...
And it borders St. Paul. I want to see like the official... Here's the official Mendota Heights website. Why don't you have a map of yourself? I guess I could say boundaries. It's bordered by Lilydale, St. Paul, West St. Paul, Egan, Sunfish Lake, and Mendota. Those are all great places to live. The northern boundary is the Mississippi River. Eastern boundary is... Well, that doesn't really help us. Whatever.
A combination of Sunfish Lake and... yeah. So let's see the house.
All right, so this house is...
Can you blow up the pictures?
Yeah, I will. I just want to read real quick.
Yeah.
4,000 above grade, 2,000 below grade, finished square feet, 4-bedroom, 4-bath with a 3-car garage.
So can we have a dance party in this place
Dude.
if we have a social?
Dude. And you know what,
hey,
Tim?
this would be good for my group home. I love the look. Not that it's nice. It's nice. Don't get me wrong, but like it looks big, one level. I love it.
So I've been told it's completely destroyed inside.
Okay.
Just the way we like them. Look at we got the weeping willow tree back there.
Yeah, I'm a sucker for weeping willows, and I love those big. Oh man, it's got really gorgeous big windows that make you feel like you're outside when you're in the living room.
Sunken living room, right?
Yeah.
It's just a cool, huge custom mid-century home.
And it's got some older built-in stuff that looks like it's in good condition. Well. Yeah, good condition, just older.
I mean, it's all getting ripped out, right?
Yeah, dated.
Hopefully the windows are okay. Oh, what's this, Tim?
Ooh, I already knew this. There is an indoor pool, folks. So the Swierczek kids are going to want to come over and hang out.
An indoor
They'll babysit for you.
Which I think the indoor pool gets demoed, but you have a foundation for a sport court. Mm-hmm. Don't you think? Or maybe you cut it in half and it's part, home theater, part sport court.
Yeah,
and maybe you have some fun. Have a pool party.
Yeah,
right.
For sure, you got to have one pool party for sure. Absolutely. And I mean, your kids would love it. So if you did. I think you're right, but like maybe for like a couple years you keep it, right? Like 2-3 years. Because
so
young kids, like from like now until they're 8 or 9, it's going to be more valuable to have the pool, and then it'll be like they'll be a little older and they want to do more bigger sports where they
yeah I would worry. I just think somebody's going to drown in my house. You know, I know that's kind of a
you gotta lock the door, I think, so that they can't go. No one can go in unless it's you're allowing them.
Yeah,
but
yeah, I understand. Keep it for a while. And honestly, am I going to have the budget to do everything I want right away? No. So. I like that, honestly, unpopular opinion maybe. I like the idea of an outdoor pool in Minnesota. You're like, let's enjoy the heck out of our summer,
I considered it for our house when we first moved in. And then I just didn't do it, obviously, but like I considered it, yeah.
So, obviously, there's a big old primary bedroom.
Really nice windows, it looks like, throughout. I mean, I don't know the condition. I like the size and the placement. There's a lot of natural light in this place.
That's where Calvin and Dutchie side by side in their beds.
And you can see that whoever built it originally had money because of some of the features, and you look at how the ceilings are done, and they did some cool things to it for sure.
Yeah. This would be the new podcast studio. Okay.
Yeah.
You don't get a good sense for the layout, really. I mean, you can just see it's just a huge sprawling rambler.
But
based on these photos, we're like, where are we now?
A footprint would be nice, right? Having a what is it called? Not a
floor
diagram,
plan.
Floor plan. Thank you.
But I like the idea of big walk. Oh, and then there's just a huge tennis court in the back,
which you can convert to.
Whatever.
Pickleball and make a killing. You can do like pickleball rentals in your backyard.
But it's cool, right? Like it's a canvas for it's even got the fence all the way around it. Basketball hoop here.
Yeah. I mean, I bet it's an interesting story. Whoever built that had some freaking money, and.
Yeah, and they were super into swimming and tennis.
Yeah.
Like I want to be able to swim all year long. And then I don't even care about having a backyard because it's all concrete. So anyways, It's fun, man. Like I'm.
And what is this thing? Are you? I mean, yeah. By the time this comes out, you're going to decide whether you're going to make an offer or not, right? So you can mention the price. And
Yeah.
stuff.
Well, I think I can buy for $650.
Okay. Yeah.
Doesn't that just kind of sound like something to do?
Doesn't it sound like something to do? Yeah, it sounds like something to do, Adam. I love it.
I mean, there are. Well, here, let's just do it big. I don't know if I'll leave this in the episode or not, but I probably will. If you guys are wondering, I'm always curious. If I'm going to buy something and it's higher end, what does the high end look like in the neighborhood? So let's just go.
Yeah, because, everyone probably that listens to this probably knows this, but you don't want to be the most expensive house in the neighborhood. At least that's not your ideal. If you hit a certain point,
exactly.
Maybe it's not as big of a deal, right? There is that point where you have made it and you don't have to be concerned with that.
So I'm going to go back 2 years, over 3,000 square feet in this area. You know what I haven't done yet is I haven't driven by yet. I think I'm going to do that today. All right. What do you think our median's going to be? I really don't know.
I have no clue. I don't know that market at all. Well, I thought Sunfish Lake is kind of considered. Isn't that a little bit higher end?
Definitely higher end.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, look at this. We got some in the millions. Now I wonder when they were built.
Can you blow that up a little? It's hard for me to see.
Oh,
that.
sure. So if you want,
so the low end is 867, right? That I'm seeing. Oh, there's a 675, but is that this house?
No, this house is not
549.
sold in a while. So
Okay.
yeah, 867, 1.3, 1.1, 1.3, 1 million. This is
But those are small places compared to this. I mean, those are like 1,000. I mean, 1,000 square feet is relevant. Like I don't think it's really a comparable when it's that much smaller.
Yeah, and I wonder now. Let's just see if there is a high end mid-century. Okay,
That's pretty cool. I like that.
1972.
Good year.
Is that when you were born?
Yeah.
Nice.
That's my cell phone number too.
All right, so this is like a dated, funky 70s home. Well, not that dated.
It's not that dated. Yeah, it's dated, but not that dated. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Look at you know what they tried to do is they tried to remodel it, but leave some of the 70s feel. Right, is what they did. So
okay, so that's
pretty tastefully done.
So
I think.
So that's 867, which I don't love it. I don't hate it for mine. I would have liked.
You're
going
to spend enough that wouldn't be very profitable.
No, that's not a helpful number for me. Okay, now this is a 2015 build. So keep that in mind.
So pretty new, comparatively speaking.
Yeah. Now this one sat on the market for a while. It took them 138 days to sell this at 1.3. Dude, new houses are so boring. I mean, I wouldn't mind living here.
I agree
nice.
with you, but I like living in a new house. My house is boring. It really is. I mean, there's nothing you wouldn't go to it and say that's cool. There's no, but I love living
nice.
there.
Nice. Yeah.
It's super comfortable. I don't have a drafty room in my house. I don't have to. I do like no maintenance.
Yeah.
I just live there, and right now that's really good for my life. The layouts are useful. Stuff like that, right? Let's see.
Okay, here we go. 1971 for 1.1. We like to see this. Now, this similar buyer, right? The person who is okay with buying this one.
This reminds me of that architect/chalet feel all at once.
Yeah. There's some of these in Edina.
Cool ceilings. They had some of those beams going through one of the rooms in the house that you're looking at buying. And I think if you did something cool with the ceiling like that, that would be a nice touch.
I think a cool thing about Mendota Heights is that you get cheap
really
IKEA,
modern kitchen.
IKEA cabinets.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely IKEA.
Mendota Heights is cool because you get the burbs pros, but then you get like kind of the coolness of the city at the same time with a bunch of
you're so close. Yeah,
funky custom homes.
I mean,
this house rules, dude. How nice is this?
Very.
You know what I want to do in my next house is do the seamless quartz like this.
Yeah,
that's such a great look.
Looks like it has a nice deck. People, as you're looking at it, there's a lot of blending of old and new, and I'd say mostly new. It's like an old shell with mostly new finishings. Oh, that's awesome. See, I love big open windows now, and that's the other thing I like about my new home. My old home had really cool woodwork. Everything was dark, but smaller windows, and now we just have light everywhere, and I love that light that this place has. So,
I think this is the coolest one we've seen so far. Okay, so I do not think that the subject property is this cool. However, it's bigger. And what kind of a lot do we have here? Half an acre, whereas the subject has an extra, it's over an acre lot on the subject property. 1990 build. Okay, this is not exactly a comp, but, well.
It reminds you of the other one just because of the big windows in the back and the pool as opposed to a tennis court.
I wonder, I gotta think this is updated from 1990. Yeah, Mendota Heights has some cool options. Okay, so you guys get the point. We're not going to make you watch us go through all these. I think they're... And you know what? One thing I do like, Tim?
The point is you could take this place up to $1 million plus property.
And
that is
okay.
possible, yeah. Now you just got to find out what decisions have to be made to get it there and how much do they cost. Does it make sense?
And you know what I really like, Tim, is that I put these in order of proximity to the subject property.
Okay.
And we're hitting all the million ones first.
Yeah.
So clearly this is like the part of town to buy in. So this is a little bit more drab, not what was this, a 90s build as well? Kind of lower ceilings, some updates, some not updates. Probably this is the least impressive home that we've seen, although the exterior is great. Just trying to do colonial style.
That's the 90s McMansion look for sure.
And now
it's got one of those fronts that has the front entryways that has the two pillars up the front and the really high I don't know, what do they call that? The roof line that sticks out just a little bit, overhang. Oh, is this a dome home? Yeah, it is.
No way, dude. I've never actually... Have you been inside one of these, Tim?
No. But from a lending professional's point of view...
Pain in the ass?
If you want to... Well, they're just like... I mean, I could finance them, but not through anything remotely attractive, right? I mean, like...
And why don't people like dome homes? Are they made
to...
They're made to be like, is it like an earth berm home kind of same?
Well, I think they are efficient, but they're definitely different from an earth berm. They're just, in lending, when something gets too oddball, it serves only a certain market, and lenders don't want to be caught with foreclosure and trying to sell a property that's just not standardized enough, that takes that special person to buy it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I think that for the purposes of the podcast, though, I think we could, should wrap that up because I don't think it's super interesting to listen.
Are you guys still interested in Mendota Heights single family homes? Okay, thanks everybody for listening.
We're meeting so many cool people, so please like, share this podcast and the meetup with your friends. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
That's it for today's show. You can visit the Twin Cities RealEstateInvesting.com website for show notes, tips, tricks, and other local real estate investing information. Adam and Tim would like to meet with you. To schedule a one-on-one meeting with either Adam or Tim, go to TwinCitiesRealEstateInvesting.com/schedule.